Hi, my name is Mike Walkley. I'm a managing director and equity research analyst covering communication, Internet of Things, and security stocks for Canaccord Genuity. Canaccord Genuity is a global investment bank, and I'm part of the U.S. Research team. I have over 20 years experience as an equity research analyst and have won numerous stock picking awards in my career, especially for our work covering the communications technology sector, along with the IoT, Internet of Things sector, in which ORBCOMM is one of the stocks we cover. I'm real excited today to have the opportunity to interview Marc Eisenberg, the CEO of ORBCOMM. We believe ORBCOMM is an undervalued company by the public markets, consistent with our buy rating. We believe ORBCOMM is extremely well positioned as a leader in the industrial IoT market and has an exceptional customer base with some strong longer-term growth drivers. So, Marc, thanks for joining me today for an interview. I thought just to start off, the topic on everybody's minds nowadays, can you just start by sharing with us how the pandemic has impacted ORBCOMM and what effect it's had on your business and your businesses?
Sure. I think, overall, the pandemic, I think it affects us all. But ORBCOMM is an essential business, and we're monitoring a good part of the food movement, around the world, plus other goods. And it's absolutely crucial, especially during COVID, to do a good job monitoring the transportation chain as well as, heavy equipment, marine, think of all the stuff that affects your everyday life, whether it's the, sushi that you eat through an ORBCOMM buoy, or, the food or the pharmaceuticals that are moving, or the products being shipped to your home. In many ways, ORBCOMM affects your everyday life. I think step one in kind of transitioning to the COVID environment, I think we're really well set up to operate remotely. Being a company that is, heavy engineering and really working, able to work from home. So from that we did well. And then on top of that, 60% of our revenues come from, this recurring revenue for assets in the field that are hard at work, even when, we're all working from home. So that part of our business is, absolutely secure. Our hardware business, and keep in mind, an ORBCOMM sale starts with a piece of hardware. It gets put on a truck or a trailer or a boat or a container in order to start transmitting, to start generating those recurring revenues. And in the second quarter, it became a little difficult to get out there and get installations done. So it had a small effect on our hardware revenues, but now that the economies are bouncing back, we're really starting to kind of ramp up back to a normalized pace. I think, long term, I think, those folks that have these IoT deployments on their assets and are, sitting at home controlling the temperature on a refrigerated, container, are operating better than those who don't, right? I mean, if you think of it, ORBCOMM really is one of these stay-at-home companies, helping corporations survive in these difficult times, with the exception that it starts off with a professional install. But that is catching up. So I think there's going to be good momentum for our company post-pandemic. As I think it was a super like to have, and now it's really we better have these deployments done.
Great, thanks. And Marc, we've talked about this in the past. You look at ORBCOMM customers, some of these, especially your customers, their employees, I look at as heroes in this tough pandemic environment. They're helping keep everybody fed and moving important assets around. Can you talk about how ORBCOMM is helping your customers thrive in this stay-at-home economy? And also maybe building on that, what makes ORBCOMM stand out in the industrial IoT market?
Oh, I mean, clearly, we're helping, companies, and I don't know that we're the heroes as much as, we're supporting the heroes. You know, I mean, if you're a trucker, you know, I mean, you're out on the road, you're, you know, interfacing with other folks when you're, you know, getting service, getting gas, dropping loads, and, you know, they're such an essential piece of our economy. Or, you know, the people on, you know, some of these steamship carriers that we support, or, you know, the people that continue to, you know, operate, you know, construction equipment. I mean, you know, they're the real heroes, but what we can do is eliminate some of their risk. And, you know, in eliminating that risk, in other words, instead of having a maintenance person, you know, go out and, you know, into the yard and identify, you know, what's going on with his refrigerated, you know, his refrigerated trailer, you can do it over the air. Instead of, you know, someone in a yard pre-cooling, you know, one of these refrigeration units, literally you hit a button in 30 minutes, it's pre-cooled and, you know, you're ready to go. So, you know, we can really efficiently help them maintain their time, you know, and take some of the, you know, person-to-person interface off the table and make them operate more efficiently. And, you know, I gave you a couple of examples, but, you know, really that is the example across everything we do, regardless of the, you know, the asset that we have. Really taking the human interface out and allowing you to command and control assets via your desktop. That's what we do.
Great, that's helpful. I want to delve into a little bit about the uniqueness of ORBCOMM's offerings. Can you talk about the double and triple play offerings you offer to your transportation customers, and how does this differentiate ORBCOMM? Especially from our work, it looks like a lot of your customers might just offer one product that, when you compete with these larger customers that have multiple assets, you know, how does ORBCOMM differentiate relative to competition?
Yeah, you know, that was the dream and the strategy from the onset. I mean, this is a very disjointed, you know, broken industry that we thought we were serving when we kind of shifted gears back in the, you know, in the mid-teens, in that if you wanted, you know, someone to, you know, help you with your trailers, it was a vendor. You know, if it was trucks, it was another vendor. If it was, you know, refrigeration, it was another vendor. If it was a chassis, it was another vendor. And, you know, just think of the integrations, this bowl of spaghetti behind the scenes with these integrations into your dispatch systems and your ERP systems and your operating systems, and allowing all of these vendors and all of this confusion and having these things seamlessly work together. You know, and that became the, you know, kind of the ORBCOMM dream, you know, being able to go to one of our, you know, very close partners, you know, a JB Hunt or a Walmart or a Tyson Foods, and, you know, just, you know, can you take that confusion away? Can I sign up with one vendor and, you know, understand and have this command and control of my assets and have it seamlessly work together? What truck is being tied to what trailer, and, you know, just make these things so much more efficient. And, you know, I would tell you, you know, in, you know, maybe 2018, you know, we were bidding on trailer deals or truck deals or container deals, and they were all separate. But, you know, as I kind of look out today, you know, this double play or triple play is almost every single opportunity that we're bidding on has multiple asset classes. And, you know, we really are unique, being the only guy that has the only guys who have such a thorough offering. And it's one of the reasons that we are, you know, being chosen, and, you know, why our close counts are coming up. But it took some work in, you know, in this integration effort, you know, making all these products work together on one platform. Imagine 13 acquisitions, you know, that gave us all these asset classes working on these 24 different platforms. And just in the last quarter, they've all converged into these two platforms. So, you know, it's not just a dream of, you know, managing multiple asset classes, but it's really here now.
Right. Yeah, I'm going to jump into the integration in a second here. Just one more thing on the competitive environment. Just how important is dual mode also? I mean, you have satellite capabilities with your own network and a partnership with other providers like Inmarsat, but how important is dual mode solutions versus a lot of your customers that might just have a single mode cellular solution?
Yeah, well, I think it depends on the application and the throughput and the battery. There's a lot that goes into, dual mode. But, when I got into this industry, satellite was, roughly 30% of the deployments, and then the rest became cellular. And then, cellular at all this scale, and they were hitting price points that satellite wasn't able to go. And then as you went from 2G to 3G to LTE to 5G, the bandwidth that became, available for, for cellular just, drastically outpaced satellite. So I think the offerings today, as opposed to a satellite versus a cellular, I think you're hitting on it, is more of a dual mode opportunity where you try cellular first, and if you're not seeing coverage, or there's congestion, or there's issues with the cell towers, or it's amazing how effective like a Walmart is after a hurricane, where they're delivering mission critical items after a hurricane, and the only people that have visibility of their assets is Walmart, because they've chosen dual mode. But there's a price to it, right? So, where dual mode a couple of years ago would basically double the price of the hardware, and it would, maybe, 1 or 1.5 times the price of the airtime, it became this trade-off. Okay, so if I'm getting 92% of my messages through cellular, what's the value, for the incremental 8%? And, there's certainly a value there, but I don't know that the value in every use case was double. For some of them it was, for rail or places that, cellular just doesn't like to go. But for what you were getting, we needed to start hitting price points, and, wow, did we come a long way. I mean, we put, tons of dollars into an RFIC that took, roughly 250 components down to one chip, taking cost out of it. And, we secured a new deal with Inmarsat, where it's just a fractional incremental cost to add satellite airtime. And, for that 8%, will you pay double? Sometimes, maybe 3 or 4% of our deployments. But will you pay 15 or 20%? Incremental, price for 8% more, throughput or coverage? Sure you will. And, that's just hitting us now. So, that Inmarsat arrangement is, just in the process of being completed, and the hardware is available this quarter. So all new. So if you look at ORBCOMMs 3 or 4% of dual mode deployments, you ready for this? I think it could be 25 or 30% of our deployments, and think of how many deployments we do, and think of the competitive advantage. I mean, who else owns a satellite network, or owns this technology that resides on the Inmarsat platform? That's really unique to ORBCOMM. So kind of back to my story of the mid-teens, the dream of ORBCOMM: scale, hit price points, support these, large industrial companies. And, that's why I'm so excited about where we are today with all of these efforts hitting the market at the same time, including dual mode.
Right. No, that's very helpful. And just want to switch over to the integration. You've talked about 13 acquisitions, the integration's nearly complete. Can you talk a little bit about the ORBCOMM platform, why it's such a pivotal achievement for your company, and how does it help your customers, more importantly?
Sure. To start, the ORBCOMM platform is this convergence of all of our transportation platforms. So basically, even though we've got a very large, engineering staff, we really don't, because, imagine 24 platforms with 8 people working on each on average, as opposed to 150 working on one, and how much innovation you can do. And that's really the world we were in, trying to support all these other platforms. So at its very basic, we're able to be more efficient, add more scale, and and innovate, to get back to innovation and get this company back to, our historic growth, that 10% organic growth. But that's just the very beginning. I mean, if you take a look at this ORBCOMM platform, now for the first time, if you have a truck, if you have a trailer, if you have a reefer, if you have a container, it's all working on the same platform. We're not asking you to zoom in and out on platforms, have some dispatcher with all these screens open on their desk. It just all seamlessly works together. And then that's not even it. I think the thing that you should be the most excited about is we are headed for a 5G world. And if you think of what IoT was, it started out just track and trace. And when people think we're in like the track and trace business today, I mean, that's almost insulting, isn't it? So you start off with track and trace and, you're transmitting 6 bytes a day. And then all of a sudden, the customers want more. Gee, can you give it to me? Can you tell me where my unit is, every hour or every 15 minutes? And then it got a little more sophisticated where, all of a sudden, they wanted geofences and alarms and sensors. And then it got more sophisticated that they wanted to take diagnostics, off these units so they can do preventative maintenance. And each time you did that, there was this, just massive amount of data that you needed to process. And these old platforms, were kind of hitting their peak and how much they can process. And the real work is just about to come, because when 5G comes, or even on LTE, along comes video. Don't tell me if my trailer is full or empty. Show me my trailer. Show it to me real time. Show me who's walking into my trailer. Show me what my driver's up to. Show me if my driver is sleeping at the wheel. Show me what's going on the street. Help me with my insurance. And all of this talks, it really, starts with, ingesting all of this data and then being able to interpret it. But you can't do that with 24 unscaled platforms. But you sure as heck can do it with the ORBCOMM platform that is kind of future-proof in terms of data and the way it was built. And if you're an ORBCOMM competitor and you didn't do this work yet, you better, because either it's coming and you're going to, reach this capacity constraint, or you're going to really, lack in innovation. And it took 3 years to get this thing out.
Right. And, building on that, Mark, with the platform now built out, the acquisition, integration behind you, let's focus on, growth drivers for the company. How is your team focusing now from integration to innovation? Maybe you can share with us some exciting new products that might be coming to the market soon, and just overall, how your company is transitioning to growth.
Absolutely. Let's start looking backward, and then we'll start looking forward. Right, backward. We were certainly innovating, but we were innovating around integration. So after 13 acquisitions, you've got this product portfolio, that is a mile wide and a foot deep, and you need to start making these, condensing these SKUs and being able to support large deployments and do it in a short time frame. You've got 6-month build cycles in terms of how you obtain parts, and your customers, once they make their decision, they want product in a day, right? So you cannot do that when your SKU assortment is wide. So as you kind of look backward, I think we did some good work setting the company up for the future. That yes, we got our margins in line; they're double. We've got our cost points in line. We've got our scale in line. That the products that we're built, there's an awful lot of sell-through. We've drastically reduced our SG&A. We've improved our working capital. Looking at the mechanism that is ORBCOMM and how we operate, the mechanism's working really, really well. Now what we got to do is funnel more sales through it, right? So that's the next step, and that's the ORBCOMM that people are used to, the ORBCOMM that has all this innovation and growth, and then you take a year off to, work on those initiatives and, get the platform ready for the future, like I just talked about. Now how are you going to go and pump this growth through it? And almost all of the dollars almost all of the dollars that were, being pumped into integration are now being pumped into new products, more, new channels to market. And I'm going to start going into some of these things, but it's really exciting. An example, we talked about dual mode before. So dual mode used to be something embedded in the product that, drastically, increased the SKUs, for every type of asset you have. We have the new ST2100 coming out this quarter, and basically it's a smart antenna that you plug into any ORBCOMM telematics device, and you have dual mode. In the snap of a finger, you have dual mode. Just run the cable just like you'd run an antenna, and you're in the ORBCOMM dual mode business at, maybe 1/3 of the cost from a hardware perspective that our competitors would charge, for a similar product, because we own, these networks and these products. So, super exciting. I think we're going to, drastically improve our share of dual mode. We've got a new product coming out in the reefer container market, that's going to add, a number of advanced features. We've got new products coming out for carrier. We've got our Halley device, which is the first time that we're productizing AIS, where you're going to get a handset, like the size of one of your old portable radios that you'll be able to put into a ship and see all of the traffic for all the other ships in the neighborhood. And it's the first two-way opportunity where you can send an alarm back through the ORBCOMM network. Now, keep in mind, these things I'm talking about have almost zero sales today. So they're all pure growth. If you sell one unit, that's an improvement over zero, right? But hopefully we're going to sell a whole lot more than one unit. We've got a new product coming out for Volvo. We've got a product coming out for, the chassis and the small heavy equipment market. I think what's cool about these particular, deployments is there's already customers for it. We develop them for customers. So we know there's going to be take up of all of these products. And, as we're recovering, we're going to get organic growth through our core product line. And we think that, these incremental products, will add another 5 or 6% of growth, which will, comfortably get us into the, into the double digits in terms of growth. And with the mechanism fixed, as I explained before, as you funnel these products through at, 40-point incremental margins for hardware and, 90% incremental margins for service, we're not going to have this growth in revenue that is offset by growth in costs. We're going to have relatively stable costs. We're going to have that incremental growth. So 10% revenue growth is 20% adjusted EBITDA growth.
Right. Now that's helpful. It sounds like some very interesting products that should perform well for your end customers. Just building on that a little bit more, as you think about the growth and how it's translating to incremental value, can you talk about incremental value both to your customers and helping them and what you can drive for them? And then also, as you drive that growth and hopefully better cash flow and earnings, what does that mean for ORBCOMM shareholders?
Yeah, definitely part of our plan is to grow within our customer base, not just adding customers or new assets. Almost as I described before, you start out, tracking and tracing, then you get into diagnostics, then you get into video and security, then you get into analytics, and you help people, predicting failures, predictive and prescriptive analytics. And, once we kind of get into that customer, get their faith, and, show them what a good job we do with our core products, there's so much more that we can, add to the assortment, as the company continues to evolve. Number of projects on that front.
Great. And Marc, just the balance sheet comes up a lot with investors. Can you talk about, what ORBCOMM, what you're doing to improve the balance sheet? Certainly, a lot of what we just talked about points to improving margins, which should result in improving cash generation. So can you talk about your cash generation potential and what that might mean for improving your balance sheet over time?
Sure. So, even in the middle of COVID, ORBCOMM believes, this year we're going to set our record for cash generation. mechanism's been fixed. So we're, these incremental dollars are coming through as cash. And, cash generation is, for Q2, which is the low point of COVID, was the strongest quarter that we ever had. And I don't see why that wouldn't stop in, Q3, and Q4. As we talk about this incremental growth, which, leads to the EBITDA growth, I mean, that's almost pure cash, that's being added, but that's not even enough. There's so much more that we're going to do as opposed to just, adding more subscribers on our switches, in order to generate more cash. I mean, ORBCOMM, today is an 8% borrower, and, the market for our debt is nowhere near 8%. I mean, not even near 8%, a fraction of 8%. So imagine if we can, grow our business next year and grow our EBITDA, meaningfully, and then take these debt payments that we're making, and cut them in half to fuel the fire, all means, meaningful cash generation. Bringing down our debt is definitely one of our focuses for the next year. So, on top of refinancing at a far lower rate, I think you'll see us using a portion of this large cash balance that we've built to pay it down a little bit as well.
Right, no, that's helpful. And building on that, improving balance sheet, improving margins, better debt structure, certainly points to positive trends for the equity. That's why we're consistent with our buy rating. But if we look longer term, how do you see ORBCOMM 5 years from now?
Yeah, great question. I think, I'm hoping from a balance sheet perspective, 5 years, we don't have any debt, right? Or if we do, it's because we found some incredible use, some incredible return for our shareholders with some of the cash that we're using. But, if you look at that ramp rate, on that growth, I mean, I've seen your model, and you see, 5 years from now at that run rate, exactly what that means, in terms of cash generation. So, I imagine that gets, all cleaned up. But I think you're going to see incredible focus from us in the next 5 years. We're going to take the industries that we serve, maybe, move into some parallel industries that are similar, but it's going to be strategic, and just do a wonderful job, not just, serving the heck out of our customers, but, continuing to line up our technology to do better, do more, do, further integrations, just do such a great job and just be as sticky as heck to these guys, over the next 5 years. We've got a great model, and, that model, in the past has worked. I know that the speed bumps that we hit, getting this integration done, along with a little, something less than help from the, from macro, from transportation in the last year. But, we think we've built a model that works. We're through these integrations. We've got a number of products coming out, and, we're going to get back to growing this business. That's the plan.
Great. Marc, thank you for your time today. We're excited about all that you've accomplished this year, especially in a tough environment with COVID, and certainly seems like you're well positioned for growth in the future. Any closing thoughts on your end?
No, I just want to thank you for your time, and thank you for being such a wonderful supporter over the years. And we're gonna grow this thing together, with your help as well. So thanks so much. It's a great time for ORBCOMM, with the integrations and the dual mode and the contracts and the partnerships. Gee, it feels like it's all converging at the same time, and it's exciting for us. And I think we took some necessary steps, and ready to move forward, and just looking forward to working with you.